Hello, I'm enriched. I'm from Mephalong University, Thailand. Today I'll present my research project entitled Reflective Journaling: How Students' Learning Can Be Enriched. Let me start with the background to my research project. It was initiated because there was one policy in the scenario, lifelong learning skills policy. I will not go into details there, but I'd like to highlight that when the lifelong learning policy was enacted as a national policy, universities nationwide started to implement the policy in different forms. In my university and in my department in particular, the policy has been translated into different activities in both general English courses and major English courses. In academic English 2 course, like this one, students in this course were assigned to do various activities which had been designed to encourage them to be independent, critical, and reflective learners. The characteristics that the course aimed to promote. And for the assessment of the course, it was based on portfolio, like I show you here, which included for self-studies assignments. To complete each assignment here, students were asked to choose activities of their choices that they found would help them to improve their English skills. After they had finished each assignment, which is self-study, they would also write reflective journal in which they were provided with guided questions to tell or to reflect about their learning. What did they do? How did they feel? And if they have any problems, what kind of plan would they like to do? Or what kind of skills they would like to improve more. And I had taught this course, Academic English 2, before and twice, and I had found that English students' journals did not reflect anything much. I found it was a waste of time, both on my part and also students' part. Even though they did not tell me how they feel directly, I could see from their reaction when I reminded them to write a reflective journal after each assignment. I started to question why this happened and how to solve the problem if I have to teach this course again and other courses that require students to develop reflective skills through writing journals. And then in summer last year, I was assigned to teach Academic English 2 again. However, this time I had only 5 students in class. So I took this opportunity to investigate how reflective journaling can help students become a better learners, to become critical, independent, and reflective. My research project set out with 2 purposes, as shown here. First, to explore limiting or enabling factors in producing quality learning journals in a Thai context. And second, I intended to provide suggestions for an action plan to promote student reflective skills. And from these two purposes, I developed 3 more research questions. First, I'd like to know what are limiting or enabling factors in producing quality learning journals in a Thai context. Thai context in here, I mean a university in which majority of students are non-native speaker of English, but they have to use English as a medium in their class. Second, I'd like to know what is a study approach adopted by each student. And third, I'd like to know also if a participant with a certain study approach prefer a certain channel in reflecting himself or herself or not. To answer the mentioned research questions, I gathered research data from 3 sources, as you may see here. First, I gave students the assist inventory developed by Tate, enriched, and McCune. They developed this first in 1998 and later developed in the later years. But in this study, I used the translated version of the inventory because all research participants are not English native speakers, so this could help avoid language barriers. And this inventory was used to identify student study approach. And my second research instrument, I also used semi-structured interview, which was employed at the end of the course to explore students' experiences in the course. And at this stage, the interviewees were interviewed in their native language, which is Thai, with the same reason in using translated version of the inventory. They were interviewed in groups of 3 and groups of 2 due to their different time allowed. I also went through students' reflective journals, which were written in English and were provided with guided questions. The results from these later sources were expected to provide the answer for the first and the third research questions. In the next slide is the research result that shows students' study approach and their profile. You might see that the participants' profiles and the result from the assists here in the table. You may see here that 2 students are deep approach users, Sam and Jim, and these 2 are male, and the other 3 who adopted surface approach, all of them are female. But you may see that 4 of them here are second-year student, and only 1 is the third year students. You may notice that all of them are not high achiever as you observe their TPACs here. The highest one is 2.35, which belong to Jim, who is also a deep approach user. And we might predict a little bit about their English proficiency from their grade, English grade, academic English 1. Jim got B and Sam got D. So we have learned about their English proficiency, their approach to study, and also their overall achievement in learning. In the next slide, I would like to show you the result for research question number 1. The first research question can be addressed by the analysis of the inventory, the interview data, and also the students' reflective journals. It can be concluded that the main limiting factors for these students were, first, their English language writing skills. Second, student lacked of experience in writing any reflective journals. And academic English 2 was their first course that required them to write a reflective journal, so they had no idea what should it be like. And the third limiting factors is the use of the same guided questions for every reflective journal, and in so doing had led students to think the journal was just to record some routines, and it was also pointed that there was no clear guideline, and some students did not have clear explanation why they had to write the journal and what was it for. When we take a look at the enabling factors, the data revealed that students who wrote more designed reflective journals or journals with descriptions of their learning or their thought about doing activities, normally they had experiences and training in writing similar journals in the previous courses. In addition, it was found that students would write journal in response to teachers' feedback, showing how he or she intended to improve himself according to the feedback. So we consider this as enabling factors for writing reflective journals. In the next slide, I would like to show you the results from the assist inventory. And from the inventory, it showed that there were 2 students who adopted deep approach in studying. And to make my point clear, I like to show that what was revealed about the students' journal too. In this case, students' reflective journals had been rated by using a rubric for reflective journal writing, which is scaled into 4 different ranks from 0 to 4. 4 is for a journal that contains student comments on their learning, their problems, their evaluation of assignment, and their plan for further improvement. And 0 is for showing nothing for their own learning out of any assignment. From this table, I like to point out that even though it turned out that there were 2 students who adopted the approach here in studying, what were differences between the 2 are that they were in different years of study, which reflect that they have different experience in writing reflective journal, and their level of English proficiency were different considering their grades from the previous English course. This suggests that English language skills can be one main factor in students' ability to produce a good journal, reflective journals. And in the next slide, I would like to also point out that even though there were 2 students that adopted deep approach to study, they preferred different ways to reflecting themselves. The 3rd year student with deep approach prefer writing, but the 2nd year student, like his peers in the same years of study, he preferred group discussion in his native language. This suggests also that English language was a clear factor in leading them to prefer a different way to reflect themselves. In this slide, I would like to conclude the research study with the suggestions that this study was aimed to provide. First, student year of study, like in this one, should be taken into account as well as their English language writing skills, because this study shows that students in their early year in the university lack of experience in writing reflective journal. So, training in reflective journaling should be provided for them. In addition, if students are not English native speakers, the teacher is suggested to consider which is the priority between building up reflective skills and English writing skills. If it is the former, then it is suggested that students should be allowed to write in their native language. Moreover, it is recommended that other mechanisms should be provided as choices for students to choose from, like this one. This will enable them to reflect on their learning experiences. In this study, students preferred to reflect in group discussion in which both teacher and their peers provide them feedback on their performance, and that encouraged them to evaluate themselves and to think about how they can improve themselves next time. The last suggestion is concerned about learning context. It is suggested that clear guidelines for the effective journaling should be in place so that students will be informed, for example, what is in it for them in doing the activity, so they can have like a goal in their mind why they have to do the journal. And to end my presentation, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to my research participants, my students, who let me learn a great deal from them, and my university, who sponsor my work, and all my colleagues who supported me in different ways. Thank you very much.